Oh, good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Now that I've seen you,
yeah.
even better. So I can figure out the time that we're going to connect. Yesterday, it was what, 1:30 in the morning? 1:40 in the
Now,
morning?
what are you doing until 1:30 in the morning?
Work. Ashok, I'm just following your footsteps, just like you, working all the time.
I
Yeah, taking
think,
care of normal operations and catching up in the evening. So,
okay.
but but so happy that you're able to make it. That's fantastic. So
No, in fact, I have seen the advertisement that you are looking for a store manager.
yes.
I thought of applying for it.
Yeah, we need people who are a little qualified, okay? So
Sorry,
not overqualified. Even
I'm not qualified or
no, you're overqualified. So we just need people who are the right size. We need people who are going to join us and stick around for a little bit. So so that's from that
no.
standpoint.
What made you to think that I will not stick around?
No. If you commit to something, I know you will be very
Yeah,
very
exactly.
committed. But I think the world needs you at Amrut because you're doing some amazing things there. And I think continue to do that. And as a matter of fact, while I was waiting for our call, I have a little dram of Amrut Fusion, which is a tribute to the founder of
Yeah, yeah. I'm good. Yeah.
Amrut, right? So cheers. I know it's a little
Let's
early
do that.
out in Bangalore.
How do you like it?
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it. I mean, there haven't been many Amruts I've not liked. Initially, I think it took a little while to warm up to Amrut because it was such a different taste than what you are typically used to in single malts.
Yeah.
But now it is like, what is so amazing is the single malts that you're creating now. Triparva, I have that.
Uh-huh.
That is so unique. Um, this one, the single grain, the Nidhal, that is amazing. That is,
How did you like the Naigal, Vikram? I just
I
really
really
wanted
liked
to
it.
hear it.
I really liked it. To
It
me,
is quite different treated than Amrut treated.
correct. So the way I looked at it, right, when I tasted it, to me, it almost seemed like somebody has taken a little bit of Ardmore and Kalila and blended together. Obviously, it's not the same thing, but it has those elements.
The similarity.
A little bit of that Ardmore. Ardmore to me has a little bit of cumin, roasted cumin and coriander, a little bit of that spice, and the Kalila has that oilier, sootier peat. And this had a little bit of that, and then obviously more tropical notes than either of them. So I thought it was fantastic. It was a small sample, but I'm waiting. We are getting our shipment tomorrow. So I'm waiting for that to arrive. And I think it's a very exciting venture that you have done there, and looking forward to introduce people to that because this will be legendary down the road. This will be historic. This will be momentous in the sense of putting all the single malts of India together and releasing them in this such a way. I think it's fantastic. Great initiative for sure. Cheers on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We want to be ahead of the game always, and the future is going to be that. And it's not just about Amrut. Of course, I mean the bar has been set so high. Um, So we got to basically push even harder to maintain our pole position. In
Yeah.
addition to that, we wanted to, I mean, we would not bottle anything that doesn't tick the boxes. So this one, in my opinion, it did. That's why I bottled it. Otherwise,
I see.
after
Okay.
a lot of deliberation, we have bottled it.
Right.
So I think it's a good beginning,
Mhm.
just to showcase some of the hidden gems in India.
Right. So I know you want to keep that a secret. Is that a contractual thing, or is that something that you want to?
No,
Uh,
no, no. We don't want to reveal what the name of the distillery is. It's
mhm.
akin to secret still from Gordon and Metro.
Okay.
Okay,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. It's basically similar. Maybe I don't know. In the future, it might change.
Right.
At the moment, we cannot reveal.
You cannot reveal. Okay. But it's certainly Indian malt. We're
Yes.
talking about Nidal, which is single malts of India, an initiative started by Ashok to release. There are a number of single malt distilleries. I don't know how many there are, Ashok. You probably can tell us. And it'll be very, illustrative for people to know what a rich heritage of distilling India has. And then you are basically showcasing, bringing some of these forward by the unique the skill and the expertise that you have in aging at in Bangalore in your warehouses, because that requires having a good distillate is obviously the first step. But beyond that, the cask management, how you age it, when you bottle, when you feel the whiskey is ready, those are very important aspects too. And I think that's what you're trying to do here, in my opinion. But if you want to please explain as to what the thought process is and what you're trying to do with this range, it'll be great for people to hear.
No, I think you pretty much nailed it. We found there are some good spirits available in the market, and unfortunately, it is not aged to perfection or aged in the way it should have been.
Mhm.
Of course, it's in our opinion.
Right.
So we bought this one like partly matured, and we found that we can tweak the maturation process and really showcase its real potential, and
Okay.
that's exactly what we have done with Nadal. And there are, I think, about roughly 10 to 15 malt distilleries in India for sure,
I see.
and many of them are not even bothered to sell to anybody because they are in a what do you call, like a IMFL business,
Yes.
and just like find it and sell it. So that being the case, uh, the landscape is changing now.
Hmm.
Uh, I would think my prediction in the next 5 years, probably we might have at least 7 to 8 single malt whiskies from India into the market. At the moment, we have four.
Or
So,
yeah, we carry
so
them on the shelves. Obviously, all of these are Amruts.
yeah,
And we have Amrut here, and
uh-huh.
tomorrow we're going to have four more. So Solan, Rampur, and this Paul John have to make room for somewhere else so
Yeah,
that those Amruts can come. And then obviously we are in our uh, we have our greedy angels out here sitting pretty, looking great in those shelves.
looking good. Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, Amrut certainly it's really the range is tremendous. But the important thing about not only having all these different expressions, whether you start with a single malt, which is unpeated, and then fusion, which is really what kind of brought possibly Amrut to the world recognition, because the awards that it won initially, and then the peated, the whole range is beautiful. Narangi, then you have Kadambam, double malt. You have these Atma series, which are single barrels. Triparba was again pioneering first triple distilled spirit to come out of whiskey to come out of India, I believe, and bottled
Not only India, but Asia,
in Asia.
but also
First.
Asia.
Okay, fantastic. The most fascinating thing has been in this journey. One of the fascinating thing that we'll now have 5 barrels. The 2 barrels that are coming, the Oloroso and the peated
Hmm.
Indian single malt. But everyone is different in the sense that even though you can have that core uh, Amrut DNA, but the cask is having a very beautiful, it's kind of getting into a direction which is unique to itself, that particular bottle, which is very beautiful to me. The first was obviously we call it Alane Jung, that famous 662 barrel. That was ex bourbon. The next one,
You know what, Vikram? That 660 to 669,
yeah.
it was incredible set of barrels, of 9 barrels.
Hmm.
One of those won the Malt Maniac Awards for the best single cask.
I see.
I think it is a Taiwanese importer or Lamech Whiskey in France, one among them. And I can tell you that you are so lucky to have the 662. It's just like amazing.
I know, I
It's
know.
amazing.
We're very fortunate. I know you and Surinder both guided me towards that.
Yeah,
So because we had a period option too, and I think that was very pretty too. And I had been traveling. I was in Goa the night before, and it was a long day, and
yeah,
so I was feeling the peat was coming in much more assertively. But that one, you were good enough to give me a little sample, which I brought here, and I tasted it. I was just blown away. So thank you for really making our first single barrel. Basically, that's the first single barrel for any independent store in the U.S. To be really
yes,
tremendous.
yes.
Yes. But then this rye was completely different. I mean, yeah, it is such a leaner Amrut, if you will. Amrut is a rich, full-bodied whiskey for sure, but this rye influence makes it very almost a space side kind of lighter style of Amrut to me for this one, which kind of shows a very different face of Amrut. What do you think about that? I don't know if you remember this one or not.
Yeah. What is the cast number start with 7?
It is barrel number 43. I'm sorry. Yeah, cask number 708, actually.
Look at my memory.
Yes, very close.
Yeah, it's I think 705 to 715. I think it's X rye finish.
Okay.
And now what we have done is, do you remember our rice single malt?
Yes.
So our single malt is finished in our rice single malt barrel.
Okay. Yes.
So yeah, it is not finished in American rye barrel. It is
Correct.
Amrut's own rice
Amrut's
single
own.
malt barrel.
Correct.
So that influence. Up late, I like a lot of rye finishes.
Yeah.
In fact, we have bottled about 3 or 4 barrels for Europe, one for you, another one is being bottled for America, and one is going to be bottled for a single malt club in Bangalore. They
Okay.
just picked it up. They just picked it up about 3 weeks ago.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, it's so unique. It's so unique.
It is very unique.
And it is like a Moorish whiskey, no?
Right. Right. So that was unique, and then we had this Coroni, um, uh,
Oh
ex rum
man,
cask.
that's
That is another
that's amazing.
phenomenal. And if you taste all these 4 whiskeys quickly, and in a blind tasting, if you tell someone that, hey, listen, these whiskeys are coming from different distilleries, just because of the
They will believe
casting,
it.
you really have to dig down to kind of find the core of Amrut there, which is certainly there. But this one is so unique. It's unpeated, I'm pretty sure, but it almost has a phenolic quality that comes from Coroni, distillery, which is defunct now. So this is very unique. So thank you for sharing that also with us. We were like completely stunned and blown away by the complexity and just the range of flavors these first 3 distilleries came through. And then this Oloroso, that is the new one. That is actually this one here is the Oloroso sherry. Can you tell? This is the one which is. I will tell you what the cask number is. And this
Now
is
I have the record in front of me.
the 3.
Your Oloroso is cask number 3819.
Right.
Correct?
Almost like 6.5 years old. A little more than that.
Yeah, I have tasted this on the 24th of August,
Okay.
2021 for my
I see.
official
Okay.
tasting note.
Right.
And number 26 for us, and this is a sample, my reference sample.
Control sample for you. Okay.
Yeah. So how do you like it?
We love it. I mean, so one thing I've seen with Amrut, right? Sometimes when we get the samples and then obviously it gets bottled 3 to 6 months later. And everything has so far that I've seen, they have improved dramatically. And this one, so also, I thought that in the sense that it has a little bit of, it flavors actually, because I kept the sample that I was given. initially. So this became more rounder and more richer. If you can imagine, like, I think we tasted it in, I want to say April of this month, and it was bottled like 5 months later, May, June, yeah, 4 months later, three and a half, yeah. So 5 months later. So it is actually, it became better in my opinion. Now, when you pull the samples, do you go back and forth and see how that is, or how does that, is that true that it will change?
No, right. There is a bandwidth in terms of the age of the whiskey. I would say up to 6, 7 years, you wouldn't worry much.
Okay.
After that, it is very tricky. You had to watch it like carefully. What a fantastic whiskey at 7.5 years can be completely spoiled in 7 years and 9 months. The 3 month window can change a lot. That's
Okay.
exactly what you have noticed because it's rounded more because 6 months of maturation in India is par with, I would say, 2.5 years maturation in Scotland.
Right.
So you can imagine. And there is a, I mean, look at the weather today. It's like beautiful, sunny, and amazing. And last 20 days, it's been raining,
Oh, right.
gray, and high humidity in the air.
Yeah.
And today, already my lip is cracking. It's become very
Oh,
dry.
dry. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we had our first sunshine yesterday after 25 days.
Wow.
And now it just suddenly changed. Everything changed.
Right.
So imagine your barrel is sitting in an environment where the impact on it is dramatically changed overnight from moist, wet condition to hot and dry.
Right.
So we are forcing contraction and expansion of the barrel.
Right.
That's going to put a lot of strain on the liquid sitting inside the barrel. That's
Mhm.
why what we have is the accelerated maturation profile.
I see. Okay. Right. Yeah. No. So that's what I've noticed. I mean, it's always in in America also when we pick bourbon barrels. Sometimes I've noticed at least one of our barrels went a little bit more tannic um, after we picked it because it had a cycle of entire summer. It took them like 8 or 9 months to bottle it. When we picked it, it was just right. When they bottled it, it was more tannic. And some people prefer older and more of that woody characteristics in a bourbon. I like that food forward. That's my personal preference because Amrut can handle it because it has big, very strong backbone. The fruit component is very high, and viscosity is very high, so it can handle, I think, in my opinion, more wood influence. Then, so yeah, that was really good. But I was really blown away with this, the peated one, the Indian malt, and this is very unique too. And um, this is the cask number 2126. Again, this is 1 year younger than the Oloroso sherry.
The Oloroso. Yeah.
This one is 1 year younger, but I think it is probably in the caliber of even the Elane Jang, the ex bourbon. I mean, this has such unique flavors, and if you can just talk to us about, what's the, again, this is innovation, creativity, bringing new ideas into Amrut. So if you can let us know about the peat and the malt and the process, that'll be unique. That'll be great.
I'll do that. Before going into that, I'm just basically uh, I write tasting notes for every single barrel that I bottle, and
Oh,
I keep
fantastic.
a record of it. Yeah. So
Are you able to share
on
that
your
with us, or
barrel,
is that for your personal?
I can I can take a picture of this and then send you a WhatsApp.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Uh,
That'll be great.
yeah, I'll do that. Uh,
Okay.
this is one of those peated barrels. Even uh, I myself saw some unique notes coming from this whiskey. The one particular note which I don't see quite often is I have written uh, on the nose, I have written fruity, then kind of chimney smoke. Then I have written lemon tart.
Lemon tart,
And
yeah.
which lemon tart is, you can see all my notes, it's very rare to come in. And then followed by vanilla and caramel. And I've written tobacco, and then within the bracket, I put sweet tobacco. Okay. So as you can imagine, sweet tobacco is a form of phenol,
Yeah,
right?
full of
Like
phenol, yeah.
very very simple. And then on the on the taste of it, I written fruity and honey, and then I written juicy, and then lemon tart within the bracket sweet
Again,
lemon tart,
yeah.
yeah, and then chimney smoke and sweet tobacco. This is what the notes I have written for your task of the previous one.
Right.
I will, if you can just hold for a minute, I'll just
Sure,
tell
sure.
you exactly what kind of barrel it was aged and then the malt.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
a second.
sure. Yeah, of course.
Sorry, Vikram.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So, your whiskey was aged in a first fill Heaven Hill barrel.
Aha. Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I would say I don't have too many Heaven Hill barrels with me. Probably like about 2015, we bought a good lot of
Okay.
Heaven Hill.
Sure.
Uh, so it was first fill Heaven
First
Hill,
fill. Yeah.
and the peated barley is coming from India itself. There is a
Fantastic.
master who has done the peated barley for us, and that's what we filled in. So normally that chimney smoke I don't get from Scottish peated barley.
Mm-hmm.
It's like where we get it from.
Right.
So that's why the whole idea of this particular cask is so unique.
Yes.
Uh, the number of Heaven Hill barrels that I use is limited. It's not a huge inventory that I have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, the Indian peat also, I think we process about 50 tons on that batch. So it's unique.
That's it. That's very unique. So 50 tons. So many questions in this. So uh, I know the barrels are used multiple times in India and every distillery, but especially India doesn't have any cooperages, I believe, right? Because it's just not a tradition there to make casks such as that. So first fill barrels are probably pretty unique, first of all. And then was Alane Jung the 662 barrel? Was that first fill barrel
Yeah.
too? Yeah. So there are two of those.
Yes, it's a first one.
So there is that similarity between those two right there. And secondly, the peat, I'm sure is a different technique. This maltster does not do that on a regular basis. So their way of peating the malt must be very different than what they do in Scotland. The smoke content, the climate is different, so it must impact. And I've been making this up, explaining it to people. So please correct me and put me in the right path. So I have been telling people that India probably doesn't know, Indian maltsters don't know how to use peat because they don't have the experience. Not that they can't learn, but they just don't have experience working with that material. So they may be not using as much smoke that Scotland can use. Do you know what the ppm was, or in the phenol, or did we even measure that on the malted barley side?
Okay, I'll tell you what. Now, of course, everything in life is uh, by experience.
Yeah,
The more that you do on a repetitive manner, you learn a lot by making mistakes or what, no, whatever it is.
sure.
And as far as the peating is concerned, now I can tell you where this peat has come from. The peat has come from east coast of Scotland, from Aberdeenshire.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so but it's only peated in India. Okay, the peat
Right.
itself has come from Scotland,
Sure.
but it was peated in Haryana.
Haryana.
Okay, now condition in Haryana is very very different from Islay or Inverness. Okay,
Yes.
now uh, for you to do an effective peating on the barley, foremost criteria is the quantum of moisture in the environment. The
Right.
more moist it
In the
is,
environment.
more, yeah, in the entire environment where you
In
are
the
doing the
environment and
peating.
also in the peat and the environment, both, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the more the moisture you have, the more the barley is going to absorb the smoke
Right.
or the phenolic components on its shelf.
Correct.
The drier it is, it's going to be more difficult.
Right.
Okay, that is why we say, although you have the same template, methodology, and everything, peated barley can differ on various counts. The environment on that particular day, the guy who is doing the peating, and his
Correct.
mood, you name everything, right?
Right.
The more you fire, the more phenols you get, right? So that's why
Is that
even
right?
in Scotland,
Okay, I will hold that thought. But does it? I feel that the more you fire, uh, you need to have a lot of smoke to get phenols, rather than if you burn it very bright, then it will just burn and it'll give you more of a ashy kind of note, or is that not, or more almost like
when I say more you fire,
yeah.
for example, I'm not referring to the way you burn the peat. Of
Okay. Okay.
course, we need to have a more smoke than the fire.
I see. Okay.
What I mean to say is, let's say if you use 1 kilo of peat for 1 kilo of barley,
I see. Okay.
and 2 kilo of peat to 1 kilo of barley, the
Right.
dosage that what you give
Correct.
is
Correct. Okay.
more. The phenolic content is going to be more,
Right.
right?
Okay.
So that said, even though we order for a heavily distilling peated malt from a maltster in Scotland,
Yeah.
you have no guarantee that you are going to have a heavily peated barley until you receive and process it. And I see one batch I get like 45 ppm, one guy I get 55 ppm.
Yeah.
But again, the ppm business is very misleading.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
why I say that is, majority of us, when we refer to the ppm, we refer to the ppm in the barley.
Correct.
We are not referring to the ppm in the spread. Then the general thumb rule is you normally get 1/3 into your spread from the barley in terms
Mhm.
of the ppm. Let's say if you have 60 ppm on the barley, you would get probably 20 in the spread.
Mhm.
But that also going to change cut point, the shape of the still, the reflex ratio. There are so many things which
So many factors.
govern
The
what
cuts,
you
right?
are going to get into the spread. And then that's only one step. The further second step is, the longer you age, the more the phenols you lose.
Is going to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say I have aged my sprit which had a 15 ppm for 5 years. Probably you would be looking into half
Oh,
in
yeah.
terms of the phenolic
Correct.
level
Correct.
in the whiskey, final
Right.
whiskey. So
Right.
none of us, the producer talks about the ppm in the whiskey that you have actually bottled,
Correct.
right? None of us basically talk about that. We all talk about the barley. But what we don't understand is there are so many intermediary processes in which you can lose a phenol from a smaller amount to the greater amount.
Correct. Yeah. No, it's very fascinating, and I think, as far as I know, there's a new distillery out in Isle of Skye, Torbay. So they are actually doing this. They are doing They are actually recording the peat level at the malting when they're mashing and things like that. And then I believe they measure the peat level after distillation. Obviously, they're missing the third step of measuring the peat level at the time of bottling, because that will give you the third component to really assess as to what the peat level is
That is what you exactly get it on your bottle.
on your bottle. Yeah. And then, another thing that's very fascinating is there are whiskeys that had never seen any peat, but they might get some phenols, which might, somebody might be mistaken to infer that there's phenol in there because it might come from the cask. It might come from the degradation of the wood and how phenols can be naturally created in a barrel, potentially. Some sort of phenols. So, and the body of phenols is so different too. It could be orthocresol, meta, all these other, and they all are going to influence it in a different way. So, but whatever it is, this is one beautiful whiskey. And secondly, I don't know, in Scotland, they don't malt 6-row barley. So that's the other influence, because that husk is probably going to hold on to more phenols than potentially a 2-row barley husk will hold on. There's more husk in, I believe, Indian barley. Is that correct? Or
Indian barley, 6-row barley, the corn size is much smaller than the 2-row Scottish barley, for example. And then we still get a lot of, I would say, an admixed variety than going down to a specific strain of barley, which is grown in Scotland. So this is like a more traditional. And if anyone asks me what is the strain of barley that you are used, I have no clue. Absolutely no clue.
Oh no!
Because it's an admixed variety, which is basic. See, the problem is the malting industry in India has not evolved to the same standard of Scotland, because in Scotland, distilling is the backbone of the economy, and India it is not. So what happens is we have not have, we do not have the same backward integration as you do in Scotland, from distillery back to farmland.
I see.
I can go to somebody and tell that I want you to grow a particular variety of barley, and then I have to tell my maltster to buy that and malt it specifically for me and bring it. It is not impossible. It is possible, but you've got to really, really put lots of effort. And at the moment, we are not there yet. Probably we might consider in the future. So the 6-row barley is the corn size is very small, and you get much lesser yield per ton of barley process than the Scottish counterpart.
Right. So one of my, I love, you must have heard of, Matt Hoffman of Westland Distillery out in Seattle. They make American single malt. And he is very fascinated and very interested in varietals of barley and how they impact, because different varietals will sprout differently. So necessarily they might have a different malting time because because of the grain size or whatever that might be, and so on and so forth. So it's a fascinating subject, but again, one small component in the big scheme of things, because ultimately barley is obviously contributing flavor, but also sugar, which is the main ingredient that whiskey is needing to get to the distillate level. But I would love to talk to my cousins in Punjab and see if they can grow a certain variety of barley and for Amrut distillery that you will have full control over. We just need to get at least 50 tons, it seems like.
Yeah.
So that can be, exactly what Brooklady does, Rockland Farm. It could be Rayar Farms out of, Gurdaspur, Punjab, and we can get it out there and get it, it'll be great, because fortunately, unlike agave or some other spirits, grain can be grown in a season. So it's much easier in that format. But I didn't know that. That's something that I learned, that India is more like a field variety, which is more like a assortment of different varietals
Yeah.
potentially, right?
Yeah.
That's coming through. So are you sourcing it from a certain region or whatever the maltster can get on the barley side?
No. It is very simple. Simple. You would understand much better. The master go to mandi and
Yes.
he buy all the barley.
Yes.
The barley could have come from any farmer,
Yeah.
and then you basically take it and then just put it in one batch and malt it. So
Correct.
it will be uh, it'll be a mix of like some 10 different farms is barley in one
Right.
batch,
Right.
right?
Right.
So even masters, they would not have a control over it because otherwise, how do you do if we need 1,000 ton of barley from single estate? It's not possible.
It's not possible. Yeah. It's not possible because barley is not that expensive, right? It's not compared to some of the other grains. It is not, especially in India. I don't think it's considered that it's not valued in the market as heavily as say wheat or rice or some of the other core grains might be.
No. Actually, it is the contrary.
Oh, is that right?
Malted barley is very expensive now
Okay.
in India.
That's
It
because
is
of
like
whiskey or other reasons?
I think see malt is being used in like Horlicks and all other drinks components
And beer too, yeah.
and beer. Yeah, beer industry is so big in India
Correct. I didn't realize that.
and
Yes.
the distillate. So,
Right.
so the barley prices in India today is par with Scotland.
Is that right? Okay. Oh,
Yes,
wow. Interesting.
you're not cheaper anymore.
Okay, that's something interesting. So the other thing is I know your schedule is you're very busy, but I'm really hoping that we want to do a tasting where we can get some people to directly ask you questions. And is there a time frame that you might be available? 11:30 is okay for me at night, but for normal whiskey tasting folks, it may not be appropriate. But do you have any time, like say on a Saturday or something, that we could figure out and do a tasting?
Now, I would love to do this, and I would do it if I'm in Bangalore.
Okay.
I'm traveling from Thursday to Sunday,
Okay.
and I'm not sure about the good network availability in the place where I'm going to stay.
I see.
And can you please tell me what is the ideal time frame that you are looking into?
I will work
When
with
you
you.
say Saturday evening for you, right?
It could be any time. Tell you the truth, we've done tastings at different times, especially from Scotland is only a difference of 5 hours, so easy to calculate. So in India, we'll just have to figure it out because right now it's 11:30.
No, I'm 10 and a half hours ahead of you. Okay.
Correct.
Right. Now,
So
let's say, now, do you want to do it on a Friday night for you or a Saturday night for you?
we could do Friday night also, but
Night.
Saturday night might be more appropriate this weekend because Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I'm thinking Saturday might be better.
Okay,
But
Saturday
if
night
it works
will
for
be
you, if Friday works for you, works better for you, then we can try to do it on Friday night. Because I just
no,
want,
Saturday night.
yeah, whatever works
Your
better
Saturday
for you.
night will be Sunday morning for me.
Okay.
Right. So Sunday morning, I am afraid the place where I would be, I'm only worried about the network.
Okay.
I'll do one thing. Please hold on until the end of the day today.
Okay.
You keep your options open.
Sure.
At the moment, we will have it. I'll
Okay.
just basically check up the hotel where I'm going to stay, and I will find out about the Wi-Fi network because 100% the mobile network will be hopeless
Yes.
in that because it's a hilly, secluded region.
I see. Okay.
So if I'm sitting here like this, no problem on
No
WhatsApp.
problem. Yeah, of
Right?
course. Of course.
I don't mind drinking whiskey at 6 o'clock in the morning. No problem.
Okay. All right.
So let me check that,
Yes.
and then I will send you a WhatsApp message later today,
Okay.
and then we'll take it from there.
Fantastic. So the last thing, last two things. Spectrum is bottled. We are super excited for that, and that is coming in January. So which is a little sad, but the supply chain has been horribly stretched right now. So that's completely understandable. And what else? We had this triple triparva, we had all these different expressions that are coming in. Now single malts of India are coming in. What to expect in 2022 for Amrut without giving too much away?
2022, a novel single malt is coming,
Novel.
and novel,
Okay.
and I don't know how many bottles are you going to get it.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the cases. I'm
Yes.
just talking about the number of bottles that you would get.
Okay.
Um, Historically, the problem for us is when we do an experiment,
Hmm.
I cannot afford to do a mass production without knowing what the results are. And now we have done it, and I'm really hoping that I would be able to bottle a small batch in 2022.
Yeah.
It is going to be a kind of game changer.
Is that
Uh,
right? Yeah.
yeah, that is what when I do that, that is what I want to do.
Okay.
Just don't want to do something what has been done all the time. There is no
Okay.
fun in
All right.
it, right? So I'll keep you posted, and then I would say we are looking at about three different brands going to be released in 2022.
Did you say brand?
Uh, I mean, when I say three different brands, two are brand new.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, expressions. Okay. Yeah.
two new expressions, and then another one is something we have done it in the past, so we're doing it like a little larger batch.
Okay. Okay. All right. Coming soon.
Coming soon,
and
yeah.
and and what about single malts of India? You said there were like maybe eight other. When you say eight other distilleries, that means there are about 12 distilleries.
The problem is there are varying difference in quality of the
Okay.
spirit that is
Hmm.
introduced.
Yeah,
Perhaps not all of them would fit the bill for a single malt.
I see.
We are just basically, keeping our eyes and ears open,
Yeah,
and see if we can get any
it can work.
and work on it.
Right, right, right. Now, your single grain was absolutely stunning too, and a lot of people don't appreciate single grain, but we know in our group, single grain is really enjoyed, and people understand single grain. That single grain was truly stunning. Uh, is that something that the next chapter will be coming in on that too? Is that
Yeah,
something?
I wanted to continue for myself for sure because I'm a personally big fan of single grain
Same
as
here.
well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, look, this single grain project I initiated it about 8 years ago.
Hmm.
I was hell bent on surrender.
Hmm.
I was living in the UK at the time. I
Hmm.
said nothing doing. We have to do it. I was literally eating his head, and then I made him to put it in the barrel, and then by the time we were bottling, everyone was so happy on the outcome.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for the part that I played on that eating surrender set.
Okay. Definitely that's something in your wheelhouse, and that's something we'll see in the future. Um,
Sure.
Last question. India, obviously, America, there scores of single malt distilleries now, and they're trying to figure out what the laws are going to be or what the rules are, so that they can all define this category. Um, India, we can still call malted rye single malt. Is that correct?
Somebody from England uh, bottled malted rye.
Okay.
You just go and look at the
Yeah.
description of.
Right. So I think they are calling it. I don't know if they can call it malt, single malt, but in America you can, because we have 100% malted rye and it's called single malt in the US.
I mean, I'm not a Scottish distillery. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Correct.
don't need to follow their rules.
Exactly.
Um, however, majority of our whiskey production is in par with what the regulations in European Union is. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
so in terms of the input ingredients and etc.
Hmm.
I mean, for example, you take the case of Narangi. I haven't broken any rule.
Right.
I have basically worked a way around in seasoning the barrel.
Seasoning
And
it.
SWA cannot put their finger on me because I haven't done anything to the whiskey,
Right.
nor did I add anything to it.
Right.
So the barrels are seasoned. Then you can mature your whiskey in an ex tequila barrel, in ex bourbon barrel, an ex Oloroso. Why not orange sherry? Right?
Oh, of course. Of course.
It is the way we work that.
Of
You
course.
didn't think about it. It's not my
Right.
problem.
Right. Correct. Okay. Fantastic. So, well, thank you for your time today. It is always so good to see you, and keep doing what you're doing. You're doing some amazing job, and if you can find the time on Sunday and the connectivity is good, we'll love to, or whatever time, if Friday or Saturday night works better for you, that's fine too. We'll guide the tasting at that time because people would love to hear from you. I think that experience will be a lot more unique. But we will share this video too with others so that they can get some idea on what you're working on and on these whiskeys. So thank you again, Ashok. I really appreciate it. Cheers.
No problem. It is always a pleasure, Vikram. So on your Saturday tasting, we are talking about these two single casks, correct?
So no, we'll talk about Nidhal also is coming. So we'll taste. We're getting 4 new casks tomorrow. The Fino Sherry Atma is coming in tomorrow.
Okay.
That is coming in. Nidhal is coming in. So that's his own chapter. And then obviously the Oloroso Sherry and the Peated. And you can let us know what the order should be because sometimes I try the peated before the sherry. Other times I think sherry should come before the peated, but either way, the peat
No,
is what has
keep the feeder at the end.
at the end. Okay, both the Nidhal also. Nidhal maybe 3, and then Amrut or
Neither is 3. Your single cask will be the 4th
both. Okay,
because yours is at 60%.
yeah,
Nidal is at 46. And
46.
then, first the Fino, 56.5% that is. And
Right,
then next is your Oloroso Sherry,
Oloroso sherry.
then Nidal, then your single cask.
Right, we might layer in the rye and the Corona cask too for the people coming in. Just so that we have a half a dozen whiskeys. More Amrut is never enough, right? So just for that.
Yeah, no. Thank you for whatever that you are doing. And you are an absolute supporter of Amrut. And then, we just wanted to reciprocate that now.
Thank you.
Simple.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy to support Amrut. They're just such a fabulous, I mean, not only the whiskeys are fabulous, everybody behind the whiskeys. I mean, I met a lot of the people, your entire staff. You are just outstanding, a great, ambassador for Indian whiskey, setting it up, basically pioneering it worldwide. So that's great to see. Very proud to be associated with Amrut, for sure.
Thank you, Vikram.
All right. Have a great day.
So I'll let you know. By tonight, and then we'll figure it out how to do it.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah?
Good night. Good day.
Thank you. You take care.
Bye.